So, hi everybody, and welcome to our first webinar of this semester. Today we're going to be looking at transitioning to third level. So, having a little look at the differences between some secondary school and then college. Just little differences and tips and tricks that you might want to pick up. My name is Nicole. I am an assistant psychologist. I work in Student Central. Keeva and Michelle are there. If you guys want to say hello.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming.
Keeva mentioned already we're going to be using Mentimeter today. So if you go to menti.com and input the code, which you're going to see in a couple of slides, it's just a way of you interacting with us without having to speak if you don't want to. Okay. So firstly, congratulations for getting into Maynooth University. It's a really big achievement and you should be really proud of yourselves. So it's very exciting. So here is our first question. So if you go to menti.com, like it says on the top of the slide, and if you input the code 81969660, I'll just give you a second just to do that. So how is everyone feeling today? I don't have access to Menti, but I'm feeling good. How are you guys feeling, Keeva and Michelle?
I'm feeling great, thanks. How are you feeling today, Michelle?
Feeling good as well.
Can't complain too much.
Exactly.
A bit annoyed, okay, happy. Okay, so we have a little mixture of feelings there.
That's okay.
Okay. Is there, oh, here we go. Grand out. Okay, good. Overwhelmed. There's lots going on at the minute for you. Great. Thanks for that. So just to start off with feelings around college as well. So like leaving school and starting college is a massive step in your life and your academic journey. You're leaving something that's so familiar to you, you've probably been in since you're really young, and you're moving on to something completely different. So at first that might seem a bit scary because it's new, which is normal. So you might have that combination of nervous and excited. But yeah, it's completely normal. And it is also very exciting. So there are a lot of differences really between second level and third level education. So in order to thrive at third level, you need to be aware of these differences and then develop independent learning skills as you go along. So we, being me, Michelle, and Keeva at Student Central, we want to give you some tips and guidance to help you prepare for your first semester. So what do people think are the differences between school and college? So if you just stay on Menti.
Just to cut out the code again, so I popped it into the chat, but it's 81969660.
Thanks, Keeva.
No problems.
And if you don't know, take a guess. So what are the differences between school and college? More independent learning. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Individual work, not much teacher help, no set homework. Yep, you're all ahead of me. Something less classes, more essays, class sizes. Yeah, really good. So these have lots of good answers coming in there. So here are some differences. It's a lot of text, so I'm going to just read it out and go through. So on one side we have second level education, the other side the third level. So as some of you have already mentioned, you would have received like homework in school, you would have gotten like maybe the night before for the next day. Whereas in third level, it's more self-directed study and learning. I go into a little bit more of that on the next slide as well. So time often structured by teachers, curriculum and homework. In college, you need to manage your own study time. You don't really have anybody checking in on you like you would have in school. In second level, study tasks evenly spread throughout the year. In third level, you might have a few assignments due at the same time, so it's about that time management, which we'll be looking at next week actually. In second level, concepts are often simpler to understand, whereas in third level, concepts are often more challenging, need to develop higher order thinking skills such as applying, analysing and evaluating. Information in second level is often presented as black and white facts, whereas in third level, there's a more critical approach to information that's required. They need to understand that some facts are more certain than others, and there may be different opinions about what is true. So that analysing. Writing tasks may not require in-text references in school and reference lists, whereas in third level, you know, as you said in that one before, more essays, so in-text references and reference lists required for more writing. And there's very specific rules for referencing. So someone might have Harvard style, someone might have APA. But there are actually lots of resources on the library website. If you go to Maynooth Library, they have different sections for referencing if you want to have a look at those as well. In second level, smaller amounts of directed learning, reading, can't speak today, less emphasis on online materials. And in third level, it's extensive reading of textbooks and journal articles that are required, and you have to critically evaluate what you read. Less teaching staff in schools and smaller environments, so it's easier to ask for help. But in third level, that help is still available. It's just knowing who to ask or where to go. If you're ever stuck for things, obviously you can always contact us, but the Maynooth website has so much information about all the supports available, and you just need to ask. So assignments, so this is just on the self-directed learning that was mentioned in the last slides. Assignments are so new for you as first year students. You know, you could think of it as homework, but I suppose with homework you have someone checking in on you the next day to make sure you have it done. You don't have that in college, so it's self-directed by students. There may be several assignments due around the same time. There might be research to do on that, which takes up time as well. So time management and organisation are really important for this. We're going to be looking at that next week. And also creating an assignment planner is really useful, which is going to be coming up in one of our webinars as well. It's all about that organisation, time management, keeping our stress levels down, which that does when we're feeling organised. So technology, you guys would have probably had a more experience of using technology. So technology can be useful to bridge the gap between secondary school and college. But because of COVID, I suppose you probably had that move to technology and online learning a lot quicker. But just some resources to check out for yourselves. Grammarly, I know Grammarly have a free version that can help with essay writing, like grammar, spelling, punctuation. And phrasing as well, I think actually. Then there's Read and Write Text Help, which is another software, and that's free for students. Actually, I think you can check out Assistive Technology on the Maynooth website. It has lots of different resources that you can use, but it also reads the audio of some of your PDF documents as well, so it's really useful. And then the MS Word features, which all of our Microsoft Words will have. They have the editor, they have the speech to text, the dictation, so there's lots of useful technology resources. Having a personal action plan, so goal setting. Goals are the first steps to every journey that we take, and they're the milestones that we want to achieve. So have a little think about like what goals you want to achieve throughout this academic year. They can be, there's different types of goals. So there's like short-term goals, there's medium-term, and then there's long-term. And we will be covering this in more detail at next week's webinar. So between now and then, it might be useful just to have a little think about what are your goals? What do you want to achieve this year?
We just had a quick question, Nicole, just wondering if the webinar is for the full hour. So just let people know that it won't, we have the hour slot there available, but it won't take the full 60 minutes to go through the webinar. But there is time at the end if you had any questions, and we'll be able to stay on for a little bit longer. So we should be finished around 20 to, I would imagine.
Yeah, it won't keep you the full hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as we get through the slides, you're free to ask questions if you need to as well. Okay, so we'll be covering that in more detail next week. So hybrid learning, some of you as I said, like you'll have the unique experience of learning online and on campus. Some of you might just have online, some might just have on campus. The hybrid learning, which is a mix of both, can be difficult to adapt to at first and trying to get yourself organised. But there are some tips to help you settle in that we're going to look at. So what does your course delivery look like this semester? How many of you are online, on campus, or hybrid? Okay, so we've one that has a mix of both. Oh, 4 that have a mix of both. So we've lots of hybrid then. Okay, so mainly hybrid.
We're hybrid too, so I think that makes sense that we're all hybrid.
Perfect. Okay, so when you're on campus, these are just some general tips, but sometimes we forget about them and they're just useful to have that awareness of. So having a look at where your lectures are on, firstly, like what building, what classroom, familiarizing yourself with campus because it's big, and I only started realizing where things were this year because I took a walk around the whole campus. So it's really worth just taking that walk and just having either a map or somebody to tell you where different buildings are. Student help desk are actually really helpful for if you're ever lost or unsure of where to go. Making use of the supports on campus. We'll have a list at the end of this webinar of different supports, but also the Maynooth University website has literally everything you could possibly need on it as well. Bring in snacks and a bottle of water because you might not think to do it, but as students, you know, on a budget, you might not be able to buy coffees all the time, so or snacks, so just bringing stuff with you and having a little look out for spots where you can relax or study. So I know they have the outdoor tents at the minute because space is limited, so just keeping an eye on where you can go and sit if you need to. So general study tips for how to study online and in person. Having that routine is so important. We'll kind of touch on it today with timetables, but with time management being the lecture being the webinar next week, I think it'll be really useful for you to attend. So creating a timetable, that could include like your lectures, tutorials, your assignment time, but also your you know, hobbies or time for just relaxing is really important as well to have that balance. Studying at the right time, picking the time that suits you. Healthy food, plenty of water, as you know, take breaks, use your social support system, and having a reward system. So rewarding yourself after you do a piece of work, and that can be something small. It could be watching an episode of something on Netflix, or it could be tea and a bar of chocolate or something like that. So studying from home can, again, you've had this experience last year. It can be absolutely great. You wake up, have some coffee, sit in your pajamas for the day, which I'm sure a lot of us do for, well, in me and work and you on online lectures. You know, on the bottom, you might not be wearing proper clothes, which is fine until you realize that you've barely gotten anything done. So just on the days that you're on campus, you might feel like you're being more productive by getting up and getting dressed. So just being mindful of that. Obviously, it's fine to chill out. Tips on how to study from home. So study at the right time. Have a designated study area. So don't work from your bed if you know that that's not the most ideal place for you, or if you know maybe that the kitchen is really busy, trying to pick a place that you could maybe concentrate and you've less distractions. And using a timer or the Pomodoro technique, we're going to be covering that again next week. I seem to keep saying that, but it's just a useful way of keeping on top of work, but making sure you're taking your breaks. And we have resources for that actually on our Student Central online part of the Maynooth website. There are resources and you can access the Pomodoro technique in a document as well there. So creating a timetable, I've mentioned this, so it helps organize your time, schedules your breaks. It's really useful when you have multiple subjects to study, which you do, and also trying to keep on top of assignments and any readings that you have. So write your schedule down so you can remember it and refer to it often. You could write it down or like create one on Microsoft Word. Set reasonable limits for how much time you spend studying each day, and break your study session up into manageable chunks of time. So we always say to students, like, just imagine studying in college as a 9 to 5 job. So 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, or Obviously, there's going to be some evenings that you need to stay on that a little bit later and finish an assignment or readings. But if you try to just view it as that, because some students get into habits of staying up all night doing things, and we would not recommend that. So choosing a study time that suits you, just like every person is different, every student has their own way of getting things done. So you can be an early bird, you could be a night owl, or Keeva, we like that last year, permanently exhausted pigeon. So yeah, take advantage of the time of day that you feel most productive, and don't try to force yourself to study when your brain isn't at its peak. So if you know that morning, first thing in the morning isn't ideal for you, then trying to maybe push it out a little bit into the afternoon if that works better, when you're most alert, so you can process and retain the information that you're studying. Having that designated study area at home, just whatever works for you. If it's a place that you've less distractions, that you don't have the telly on, great. You need to put your phone away, whatever it is you need to do. Your study space should have good natural light and no noise and distractions. This will help you enter a positive headspace and you get the most out of it. Most importantly, keep it organized and clean if you can, so that you can put more time into studying and less time trying to find out whether that pen works. So the procrastination that kicks in when you're sitting down to study, like, oh, maybe I'll go over and clean my room now. Try to keep that to a separate time.
Or what I've done before is go through my full pencil case to see if all of the pens are working when I only needed one pen. So yeah, procrastination can catch you sometimes.
That's it. Don't work from your bed. So yeah, our beds are very comfy and they can be really tempting when you're absolutely exhausted, but sitting there, it's actually not good for your posture and it will decrease your focus because you might end up falling asleep. Also, crawling into bed at night then won't provide that same sense of restful relief if you've been sitting at it all day. And yeah, you'll be very tempted to take a nap like the little dog in the meme there, or meme, whichever it is. So eating properly, this little GIF actually is meant to do a little video for you, but it's obviously not working. So don't forget to eat. Your body and your brain needs fuel to stay in top form. It's also really difficult to focus if your stomach is growling. Have healthy snacks while you study, but make sure they're prepared in advance so you don't spend too much time procrastinating away from your work to prepare your snacks. More time away means more opportunity to be distracted. So when I say study, that could be assignments or reading, whatever you're doing outside of your lecture time. Take regular breaks. I can't stress how important it is to take those small breaks throughout the day. Have a few minutes away from your desk every hour in order to stretch your muscles, get some fresh air. Taking regular breaks improves focus and attention, and it also boosts energy levels. So it can be the time then that if you've put your phone away, that can be the time where you check your phone, make a cup of tea or coffee, a glass of water, get outside, whatever it is that you choose to do, just moving away from the desk and coming back after a few minutes. Use your social support system. So stay, checked in with family or friends, whether that's a phone call, if you're living up here and family or friends aren't around. We go into there in a couple of minutes, just the clubs and societies that we mentioned. We would encourage people to join them because that's a great way of meeting new people. I know WhatsApp is big at the minute for linking in with people if you're doing online classes and you're in groups and stuff like that. But yeah, just reach out and make sure that you're not alone if you're feeling stressed, or just on a general day, it's good to link in with people. How do you feel about communicating with lecturers? So this would be a little bit different for you compared to school. School, you probably had a teacher there all the time that you might just pop up to at the end, but I suppose lecturers it's a little bit different for you. So how do you feel about communicating with lecturers? That code again, if you've left, is 81969660.
And I've also put in the link into the chat for our Student Central online resources, so they're there for everyone as well.
Thanks, Keeva. Difficult, yeah. Bit daunting, still easy. Well, that's good. So we've kind of a mix of feelings there. Not comfortable yet. Yeah, all of these answers are completely normal. And okay. Great. So we have a good mix there. So that's perfect. So communicating with staff, like during your time in college, you may need to communicate with your lecturers, tutors, admin staff, different supports on campus. And a great way to just do this is through email. Reasons for communicating with staff or lecturers may be because you were absent or unwell to attend something, or to maybe upload assignments. So academic difficulties, if you're having difficulties due to maybe a disability, or queries about assignments or exams, it's just the best way is probably to catch them through email. When you're emailing them, be sure to always use your college email, because if you use a personal email, they might go into the junk box, and some lecturers or staff would probably be hesitant to reply to personal email addresses. Check your course handbook, Moodle and the college website beforehand to check if your question is already answered. Like, there are lots of those frequently asked questions sections on Maynooth website as well. Use a formal professional manner. Be concise and look over your email for like spelling and grammar mistakes. Begin with a formal approach. Example, doctor or professor, or dear. Well, dear as well. If the staff member replies less formally, then you can adapt to that more relaxed tone. It's just initially if you email them formally, and then go from there. So this is just an example of like what a first email should be looking like. Formal, so you have your subject line, what the purpose of it is, example, extension request. You have dear, and then the title of the staff member. Introduce yourself, say your name, what year you're in, what code, what module, and code, why you're emailing them. So if it's about a particular assignment that's due, highlighting the difficulty that you're having, and if you know most I think would require some sort of doctor cert, just if you want to attach that in, then you say you've attached it. Yeah, so it's just about being formal and polite in your emails then. So the lecture response, so the formal one, as you can see there, dear John, thank you for your email. As you have attached the doctor cert, your new due date for your assignment will now be whatever date. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any other problems. And you might reply saying, thank you for your email, I appreciate your support. And then they might reply informally. So thank you for your email, yes, of course. It's not really a big deal, it's just more to try to kind of give you a bit of an idea of what a formal email would look like. Okay. So how is everybody finding making friends? Okay. Mm-hmm. Not so good and okay. Yeah, like it's a hard one in college. You know, you're coming into after being with the same people for years. Now it's brand new people and you have to start all over again. So it can be daunting, but there's lots of supports there for trying to make friends. So thanks for answering that. So Launchpad, which some people might have attended, there I have entire first semester with a range of information talks, direct advice and guidance. I'm not sure what's happening with their game zones or hangouts at Keeva. Do you know anything about that for this semester?
Isn't it Map My Way this semester? And also there's a lot of information available on Discord. Mm-hmm. I don't know a huge amount about Discord. I think I'm getting too old for all the new technologies. But Discord is something to join up to if you can, and then Map My Way. So keep an eye on your emails. There'll be a lot of information there. And if you've met any of the MAP ambassadors, they're always more than happy to answer any questions that you might have about getting involved in any of those activities.
And following them on social media as well is a great way to see what's happening, because I think they update like Twitter and Instagram and things like that to keep you up to date. Clubs and societies then, if you go to mulife.ie, they literally have endless lists of different clubs and societies, which some of you may have already signed up to. If you're feeling like nervous or apprehensive about joining a club or society, there is First Day Contact, which is when you go onto MU Life, there's a section in there for First Day Contact. It's a like dedicated person from that club or society that will help you feel more welcome. It's, you know, they can have a chat with you and give you a sense of what the club or society is like, and also then that, you know, when you attend, you have somebody that's familiar to you, so you don't feel like you're alone in it. And then there's also student union as well. So just a list of some university supports. So there's a math support centre if you have any math subjects and you need a bit of extra help. There is the writing centre, and I know at the minute they're doing a writing course for first years, which I think if you're not attending, I would recommend that you attend, especially if you have a lot of essays in your course. The student health centre, that has a nurse. They're due to get a GP, I think, hopefully early next year. There's the counselling service, which is free for students, and you can self-refer to that. Student budgeting if you're struggling financially, and academic advisory office if you have any queries about your academic options or credits and modules and things like that. So that's actually the end now. So I'm actually 10 minutes ahead of what you had originally said, Keeva. So thanks so much for kind of coming. We will be having more detailed webinars coming up. If you keep an eye on our schedule, we'll be covering time management and organisation, study skills, note taking, and wellness webinar as well. So keep an eye on those. We do have, Keeva, do you have a feedback form there that you want to pop in?
Indeed. I'm just going to hit stop recording.
Perfect.